We have over 300 people signed up for this, and I do enjoy how everybody shows up at the very last second.
Patrick,
Yeah, Mark.
just letting you know, I've had a terrible time getting in. I was in a loop for 6 times. It kept telling me that I needed to re-register, or rather, it didn't tell me I needed to register. It kept telling me that I was registered, and I would go through and the loop over and over and over again. Finally, I got something from you, and it had a Zoom link in it that worked.
Okay.
Just letting you know that's what it took for me to get into you.
This is Agatha. I had the same problem, Patrick.
Okay, let me go ahead and push out another email to everyone who registered with the Zoom link.
That's something from Eventbrite, the link that they put on their website when you register. This gets you into the endless loop. In the email, they send manually the event ID and the passcode in there,
Yeah.
but the link is useless.
Yeah, the link just takes you to a site where it has you re-registered, and then it tells you that you're already registered.
Okay. Let me go ahead and email out everybody that's signed up.
Yeah,
Could everybody please mute themselves?
a number of other people have had the same
Oh, I'm
problem.
sure you're not the only one.
Isn't technology great?
On the Eventbrite link, well, on the Eventbrite, it said register, but when I scrolled down, I was able to find the Zoom link and land here.
Yeah, I put that into all so when you sign up, you get that in the body, and it also gets emailed out. I just sent the invite for this out to everyone who registered again. So hopefully that'll get people in.
I had to re-register twice, but the second registration that had this link was actually in my others box rather than my main box. So it could have gone awry for other people.
Yeah, that's the problem with anti-spam is it sees these as mass mailing, so it puts it in your others or spam folder. Okay, we'll give everybody just a few more minutes before we get started then. Hopefully that will start to get people in.
At first, when I saw register, I registered again too. And then I realized if I scrolled down, the link was there. But that where it says register was a little confusing because the link was below that.
Just to mention, I registered several times, but none of the emails were arriving. So there's actually an option which says, didn't receive the email, click here. And when you click it that way, apparently it sends it via some other route because I got that email and I was able to get it.
That's what worked for me too.
Yeah, we're having trouble registering tonight. I had to do it 3 times.
Also resending all the confirmation emails through Zoom. The problem is can only do them 10 at a time. And we have over 330 people signed up, so
Oh, wow.
you can do the math on that.
Hey, Patrick.
Yeah.
Looks like the chat says people are having trouble too.
Yeah, we understand there were some issues getting in. If you got in, great, hang tight. I'm sending out email confirmations to everybody, so hopefully that will get them in. And then we can get started in a few minutes here. Hopefully the link from Zoom actually works for you. Otherwise, I'm sending that out, resending that out.
Well, I just got the email that you resent, but I'm not going to click on it because I
No.
finally made it here.
If you're in, stay here.
Yeah, I'm staying put. It was a struggle to get in, but you just have to work with it.
Well, I talk about struggles and what you have to do about that in this presentation. So you're already ahead of the game.
See that? It was practice.
Yes. Sometimes we put cert classes where there's very little parking and there's a maze to get to them. So it's your first challenge just to find the class.
Somebody said.
Okay, we'll plan to get started at 7:10. So 3 more minutes, let everybody get in, and we'll get started. We're up at 94. I'm going to go ahead and mute everybody. Go ahead and stay muted unless you have a question. Rose, do you have a question? You have your hand up. Well, now everyone's emailing me.
Patrick, has anybody related to you what the problem is?
They're starting to email saying the link is causing a loop. I don't know. I
That's
can't
right.
tell. So
That's right. There's a loop involved. Yeah. As long as you know. Okay.
yeah.
That's what it was.
I have the same problem as well.
Okay. Yeah, we know everybody's got the same problem. So hang tight. Sent out the link from Zoom. So hopefully that allows people to get in. Hopefully they get my email, and then we'll go ahead and get started just now. I'm gonna mute everybody. Please stay muted unless you have a question, then go ahead, raise your hand, and then I will answer questions at the end of the presentation. All right, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. My name is Patrick Botts Forbes. I am the LAFD CERT Central Bureau Coordinator, as well as the NTP or Neighborhood Team Program Central Bureau Director. And I appreciate everyone who has had the struggle of getting in tonight. Apparently the links that went out did not work correctly or ended up in a loop. Technology is great when it works and a major pain when it doesn't. So keep that in mind when you're planning what you're going to do during a disaster. If you expect your cell phone to work and that you're going to be able to communicate using your cell phone, you're in for a bit of a surprise when the disaster occurs. The first thing that fails inevitably is going to be technology. And we see this during every single disaster, that infrastructure will fail, technology will fail. And so having a manual backup, having a piece of paper, a pad of paper, and a pen is oftentimes the best thing that you can do. Right now, we're hearing that in Puerto Rico and Florida, FEMA is out there, instead of using spray paint and drawing the X's on their search and rescues, they're using iPads and documenting with technology. It'll be interesting to see the post-mortem on that and see how well that technology worked and if they ran into any problems. But I appreciate everyone who was able to get in. Hopefully for those who couldn't, you're now watching this on the YouTube channel. We are streaming this live and that will be up indefinitely. So if you do need to rewatch it, you can go to our YouTube channel and watch it there. Tonight's presentation is on the flow of a neighborhood disaster response from the very beginning to the very end. This is something that we've been working on developing, simplifying it, making it approachable for the untrained person as well as the people who've taken the basic training, just because the professionals practice this all the time and we don't. As volunteers, as community members, this is more difficult for us to do because we never do it. You may go to a drill occasionally, you may take a class here or there, but it's not something that is an everyday presence or something that you're sent to regularly to refresh and practice. So we try and simplify as much as possible, make it easy to approach, and then hopefully it's easy enough to remember when you get started. I want to start off by saying the only part of the plan that you can rely on is that nothing will go according to plan. 300 people signed up for this, and apparently 200 of them are having trouble getting in. And so the plan has failed. The plan was that you click on the link and you're able to join this, and it failed hard. Unfortunately, that is the reality. So when you're doing a disaster response, when you're doing a drill, when you're planning anything, if everything goes according to plan, something's wrong. Something, either your drill wasn't testing everything correctly, or you just have the best team, then everybody has it down pat. The reality is that nothing will, well, I'm sorry. The reality is that the plan will go off the rails, and that's why we train, why we practice. But if nothing goes according to plan, then why do we plan? Well, the plan is actually more of a roadmap than an actual, this is how it's going to go every single time. It's a guideline. It's you can think of it as a route with a starting point, route markers along the way, and a finish line. And the most important part of the plan is really that everybody knows generally what the plan is, where they're supposed to get started, how things are supposed to go along the way, and generally where it's supposed to end up. If everybody knows that, then it makes it very easy to get back on track when things go awry. What you don't want is a rigid plan that can't deviate, can't have any room for exceptions, can't have any flexibility. Those plans will fail every single time, and when those break, it's impossible to get back on track because they don't allow for that. A good plan is going to be a flexible plan. A good plan is going to give you the guidance to know where to go so that you know how to stay on the plan. And really what you're looking for is when things go off the track, if we're staying to the racetrack metaphor, when things go off the track, you know where things should be going. And as a team, you can work to get back on track. The plan is the guideline, it's the template, it's the in an ideal situation, this is how it should look. And if we know how it should look and it doesn't look like that, now we know what we have to do to make adjustments and get it to look like the way it should be. But make sure that you understand the plan as a group, because if one person doesn't know what the plan is, or an entire team doesn't know what the plan is, and they get off track, you're going to lose them, or people are going to get hurt, or something is going to go horribly wrong in a way that can't be fixed in a safe and manner that everybody gets back to. What we have are guiding principles. Many of you have taken the community emergency response team, and the guiding principles of the CERT training is, number one, do the greatest good for the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time. If you keep that in mind, you know what you should be doing. If you're helping one person and only one person when there's 10 other people that need help, are you doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time? If you're helping 9 out of the 10 people, and unfortunately you can't help that one person, you're doing, as sad and painful as it is to say, you're doing the greatest good for the greatest number of people, even if you can't help everybody. The second guiding principle is, don't bring a victim to an incident. We want to make sure we're safe. We can't help others if we endanger ourselves, put ourselves at risk, and end up getting hurt or hurting others. And oh yeah, number 3, be flexible. For those of you who struggled to get in here, you kept trying, and you're in here now. You were flexible. Thank you. If you can't be flexible, then, and you give up at the first sign of trouble, then stay home. Help yourselves, help your family. But if you're going to go out and help others, then make sure that you're ready to adjust accordingly and take everything as it comes, even if it doesn't go according to plan. Know what the plan is, but be ready to adjust when that plan doesn't meet expectations. We have guiding principles from the Incident Command System. Incident Command System is taught in CERT. In my opinion, it's great. It was developed in California, actually, and it's really expansive. It allows flexibility at its root. You can have one person or a small team to a massive team. You can pretty much do everything and anything using the Incident Command System. It's designed to really expand as the incident expands and become massive in structure. But for us at the neighborhood level, for us who don't practice this regularly, for us who don't understand the nuances and the details that are involved with the Incident Command System, it is overwhelming. And it's probably one of the hardest parts of the community emergency response team training to teach and to get understood, just because of all the detail that goes into it. But if there's anything you can take from it, there are two things. One, everyone has one and only boss. You report to one person, and only one person should be giving you directions. That person should get their direction from someone else, and so on and so on. But if you have 15 people telling you what to do, then it's going to be utter chaos. So everyone has one and only boss. The second one is no one has more than 7 people under their command. It's called span of control. I don't want to get too much into jargon, but it is making sure that you have the oversight over the people that are under your direct command without spreading yourself too thin. If you have 30 direct reports, 30 people that you're responsible for and controlling and directing, it is utter chaos. It's not tenable. It's not something that can really be done. And so 7 is the maximum number that should be under anyone's command. 3 to 5 is optimal. As I mentioned, CERT is a program that was created by the fire department, teaches you how to take care of yourselves, how to help your neighbors out, how to do so safely. It's a great program, but it's a commitment. For those of you who are just graduated, the CERT program, those of you who are veterans of it, you know the things you learned in there, but it was 20 to 24 hours of training that you got. And some people just can't commit to that. So what we've done is we've taken that basic training and created what we call the neighborhood team program. We want to boil down to the basic parts. We want to take the CERT training, we want to take other programs and take it down to the ground level, take it down to the grassroots level where people don't have to be trained, but people want to help their neighbors. And we want to create something citywide that, and this can even expand beyond LA City, but we live in LA City, at least I do, and the people who created this program, we want to make this available to everybody so that it's easy to get off the ground without a lot of commitment, without a lot of oversight and structure that either is not provided or is difficult to obtain. And so this program was created by LAFD CERT coordinators. And this was actually created about 10 years ago. We relaunched it during COVID, and we rewrote a lot of the documentation so that it makes it easier. What we're really doing is combining 3 principal programs: the Ready Your Los Angeles Neighborhood, which is based on the Map Your Neighborhood program. And we consider that kind of an organization structure at the block level. Combining that with the Community Emergency Response Team training, as well as Neighborhood Watch. And what we're trying to do with this program is really standardize procedures, standardize drill formats, and really create a unified community disaster response strategy that is turnkey in nature. We want this to be launchable in any neighborhood and ready to go out of the box, but it needs to be customizable to each neighborhood because every neighborhood is going to be different. But we don't think that you should have to write a thesis on your program and customize it from the very beginning before it can even function. So what we're doing is we're organizing neighborhood disaster response teams, and these teams need to be open to everybody. We used to say as CERT coordinators, oh, you're not CERT trained yet? We'll take the training and then come back and see us later. And we found that a lot of people don't. They don't come back and see us later because either they can't get into the training or they forget about it. It's too much of a burden. We've had people, it took them 2 years before they took the training. And if we don't engage with those people, we lose them. And that's not something we want to do. So we really want to make this open to everybody, whether or not you're CERT trained or untrained, or as I say, not yet trained, because we still want everybody to take the training. It is good training. And then we want to do quarterly drills in each of these neighborhoods because what you don't practice, you forget. And if you're not practicing this regularly, again, the professionals do this monthly, daily, weekly. certainly yearly. If we don't do it ourselves, it becomes a problem when the earthquake happens. And the last time you heard about CERT was when you took the training 4 years ago, and now you're trying to remember, what are you supposed to do? Who are you meeting with? How do you even get started? And so that's why we have those standardized drills. So it makes it easy on us to get the drills going. But also, if you drill with us in the Valley, you drill with us in South, or you drill us in Central Bureau or West Bureau, it's all the same drill. And it's repetition, repetition, repetition. But hopefully each time you're learning something new, each time you're getting better at it, each time you're trying a different role and really fine-tuning your skills and learning more. What we're doing is we're setting up neighborhood staging areas. This is something that CERT talks about. It says, go to your local CERT staging area once the earthquake happens. Well, where's that? And there's an understanding maybe, or misunderstanding, that these staging areas are set up, that they're identified, that the city or the fire department has picked out these locations. And if you're from a city, maybe like Long Beach, they might have these. You're in a small municipality, they might have these defined. But in a lot of cases, and a lot of CERT programs out there, even the city of Los Angeles, where we created the CERT program, these staging areas are not. They don't exist. No one has defined them. And so we're working with the local teams to create these staging areas, identify where they are, and then fund a staging area kit. And that staging area kit will have everything you need for the first 3 hours of operation. It will be your base of operations to get started and deploy and help your neighbors out. We've put together a document package, and that's what we're going to go over today, is the step-by-step guide on what to do during a disaster when you deploy with your community, with your neighborhood response team, and how to get that going, what that should look like. Each of these documents is no more than 4 pages long, as a rule. We've seen some of the documents that other teams have put out, and they're 300-page books that, well, quite frankly, I can't get people to read a 4-page document, let alone the reality is reading a 300-page document is just out of the question. So we try and keep this simple. We don't use complex or technical terminology. We try and make this readable by anyone who's not trained. They should be able to read it and understand it. And then, of course, we customize the documentation as the team needs it. But the documents work out of the box. You should be able to pick up that document, and if your team hasn't done any planning or any preparation or any drilling, should just be able to follow the document and it should just work. And then most importantly is we don't get in the habit, or we try and avoid the habit of saying, okay, you've taken the training, you've done a drill, good luck, you're on your own. We want to be there with you as coordinators, hold your hand and make sure that your team not only continues to exist, but gets better, gets stronger, practices, stays to the core concepts and doesn't get off track. And so we're there continuously supporting you. We need you as team leaders. We need you as team members to create the team, but we're there to help you and hold your hand and make sure that you're able to build the team, or we can build the team around you. This document package is available at documents.ntp-la.org. And if you haven't signed up yet, if you just signed up on the Eventbrite and you haven't signed up on our email list, please sign up at join.ntp-la.org. We're creating a centralized database for our coordinators so they can reach out to you and you can find out through our monthly email list what's going on, what trainings we have, what drills we have, and then as the CERT classes get put up, where you can find those as well. Eventually, we're going to build a team organization system to replace this Google form that's at the join.ntp-la.org site, but that's going to cost a substantial amount of money, and we're looking at ways to fundraise and hire developers to take on this burden so that we can get that team organization system built. And that's really one of our end goals. It's going to make everyone's life easier. You can sign up, you can update, you don't have to email me, complain about the length of the Google form and the amount of information we're requesting in one shot. You can just get signed in and then update your profile as needed. What we've done is we've really tried to simplify everything. And so if you look at the ICS chart, there are a lot of roles. There are an innumerable amount of roles, and I can't even tell you how many there are, quite frankly. But so what we've really tried to do is simplify it down to 4. You have a team leader. The team leader keeps the team safe. Their job is to make sure everyone gets home safely. Whoever shows up goes home. The team leader should be an experienced member. They're guiding the team. They need to remain hands-off. If they go hands-on, they're no longer the team leader. They've lost their ability to keep situational awareness. They've lost the ability to keep the big picture. They're now focused on the task at hand, and that's someone else's job. So utterly the most important thing a team leader can do is stand back and make sure the team stays safe. One caveat to any of this is the team leader must be CERT trained. We do this because you have that basic knowledge of how to keep everybody safe and the basic fundamentals that training provides. Any of the other roles can be open to non-CERT trained people. So scribe I actually consider the most important position, more important than the team leader. It can be thought of as the team leader's deputy. It is by no means a menial job. It should not be considered the job that nobody wants. The scribe knows what's happening. The scribe documents everything. The scribe is the one that everyone's going to be turning to asking questions. Hey, what's the incident number for this? What's the address for this? Do we have any updates on this? The scribe is the keeper of information, and the scribe shares information. Scribes should be communicating with each other. You might have one scribe with the radio operator. They're documenting what comes in over the radio, and then they're going to go and talk to the scribe at the whiteboard and update the incident list with information. They're sharing information. Again, the most important position on this team. With an amazing scribe, things go very well. If you don't have good scribes, things go really bad, really fast, and that chaos that we talk about, the scribes are really the ones that control it and make it manageable. Without them, nothing can really succeed well. You might be able to brute force it and just get it done, but trust me, if you have a great scribe, your life is so much easier. Third role, radio communicator, or sometimes we'll refer to them as a radio operator. I like the word communicator because that's exactly what this position does. It communicates. If you're on a team, you're the radio communicator on the team, you're communicating the staging. That's your job. You're letting staging know what's going on. If you're a radio communicator at staging, you're communicating with the teams. You're making sure you identify, who the team is, where they are. You're working with your scribe to document the information that comes in. Hopefully you can also have some notes of your own, but hopefully you're paired with a scribe who will make your life easier. Because if you're on the radio and you're trying to write things down, unless you're really good at it, it is not a good plan of action. And finally, the hands-on responder. This is actually a pair of people. There should not be one hands-on responder. It should always be a pair, a buddy team, battle buddy. This is someone you're sticking with and working with at all times. If someone goes to the restroom, they should always be going with their buddy. Maybe, stand outside. You don't need to be obviously on top of each other, but you're always together, keeping track and making sure your battle buddy or your pair, your partner is safe. And these will really do whatever else is necessary outside of the team leadership role, the scribing, and the radio communication. You're doing the task. You're hands-on. You're focused on whatever needs to be done, knowing that your team leader is making sure that you're safe. So you can concentrate and help whoever you're trying to help. This could be doing first aid, putting up caution tape, turning off gas, doing an in-building search and rescue. If you want to have fun, get your hands dirty, this is the position for you. And then one caveat is the scribe and radio communicator can become a responder pair. If you're short on people, hand the radio to the team leader and then you can go in with your scribe and radio operator. And it's not the best idea, but again, being flexible. At no point in time should the team leader be the one being a hands-on responder. That's the key here. And then we simplify the number of teams out there, or the types of teams. There's really only three. You have the staging area team, you have the damage assessment team, and you have the incident response team. You could have a dozen other different teams with different purposes, but when you boil everything down to the core, focus on staging area, damage assessment, and incident response. Staging area team tracks the other teams, the teams in the field. They prioritize incidents. It's important to know that staging area is blind and deaf. Staging has no idea what's going on out there until they hear reports from the field. And those incidents, those situations can change. So staging knows what they know until they're updated with new information. However, what they're trying to do is focus on developing that big picture. They're trying to understand everything that's going on in the neighborhood and develop a response strategy to mitigate and to respond to the incidents that are being reported in. The damage assessment teams, this is really your first couple of hours of operation. They're going out, they are the eyes and ears for staging. They're seeing how bad it is. They're looking for people who need help and identifying them, get them triaged, stabilized, and then reported into staging so that staging can send out the incident response teams to deal with these incidents. Damage assessment teams should follow a predetermined route. And the reason for this is if you have a team wandering aimlessly out there, nobody really knows where they are, where they should be, and something happens to them, trying to find that team when you don't know where they should be becomes a massive undertaking. And remember, the goal of any team leader is to make sure their teams make it home safe, their team members make it home safe. So if you're the staging manager and you lose a team out there, it's panic. And then the team reports where people need help and reports those to staging, and those become incidents. The incident response team, they are deployed by staging to the incidents. So staging figures out, okay, we heard that there's someone trapped in this building. They're screaming for help. They're safe. They're not in danger. So now we prioritize. When can we help this person out? Do we have someone who is not stable, who is maybe going to die if we don't help them first, and then we help the person who is not going to die second? That's the prioritization that you should be looking for if you're working at staging. Simplify radio communications. If you follow what we call the 5 W's, your radio communications are going to be strong. The first W is who are you trying to reach? Second W is who are you? Third W, where are you? Fourth W, what do you have? And the fifth W, what do you need? If you format your radio communications in this format, you're going to have good radio communications. If you're trying to think on the fly when you hold the push to talk button and you're not experienced with radio, it will go badly. I can guarantee it. So try and write these down. If you have a good scribe and you're the radio operator, they already know the 5 W's and they've already written down. They turn their clipboard and you can read off the bullet points. If you need to, write it down first before you key the radio. Who are you trying to reach? Staging. Who are you? Alpha team. Where are you? We're at the corner of walk and don't walk. What do we have? We have a flipped over vehicle with a one occupant trapped inside. What do we need? We need an incident response team. That sounds something like this. Staging. This is Alpha team. You wait for acknowledgement from staging, and then you repeat. Staging. This is Alpha team. We're at the corner of walk and don't walk. We have a flipped over vehicle with one trapped occupant. Occupant is uninjured and is stable. We need an incident response team. Simple, straightforward, to the point, good radio communication. If staging needs to know anything else, they'll ask for it. We talked about the staging area kit. We are working with neighborhood councils. We're looking at private businesses and other foundations that can help us. These kits are owned by the Community Disaster Preparedness Foundation. We're a 501c3 that is managing the neighborhood team program. And these kits are maintained by the local team. What should be in these kits? They're standardized. So they'll have everything the team needs for the first 3 hours of operation. We include a magnetic whiteboard, printed maps with the damage assessment routes already printed on them, legal sized clipboards. Each of these clipboards will be labeled with the team or function that should be using them. And the cert forms and customized documentation that we include with the kit so that they can be put out on the clipboards. We include 10 radios. These radios are commercial radios using our commercial frequencies that are good for anywhere in the city of Los Angeles. And then medical resupply. As you burn through your own supplies, and you should have a bag, a go bag or a cert bag, you're going out into the field with this bag. You're going to burn through your supplies, helping your neighbors out. When you get back to staging, you should be able to restock. Otherwise, if you don't have any supplies, you're not going to be able to help anyone else. As well as a jump bag. This jump bag is in case of a mass casualty incident. Someone from the staging area can grab the jump bag and you have a lot of supplies ready to go in the field when you need them. The medical resupply is not to get supplies to use during the incident. It is to restock your own supplies as you burn through them. I want to make sure that's clear to everyone. You're bringing your own supplies. Additionally, there's room in the staging area kit for expansion. And this is where each team can customize what they want. One team has water, one team has a pop-up tent. This is something that we will work with you to figure out the best things to put in here and work with you on funding on. But we want to make sure these kits every kit has the same basic materials in them so that when you train at one of these staging areas, it's all the same. And then these kits are locked with a combination lock. Inevitably, if you have a key or a few people have keys, those people will not be available at the time that you actually need them. This goes for the same thing. If this is in a location that's only accessible by key or by someone being there at 3 a.m, if that person's not there or the key holder is out of town, that's when the earthquake occurs. That is not going to help anybody. So we do keep these combinations to the local team. As you meet and train, more people will get the combination, and hopefully when the earthquake occurs, someone with the combination will show up and be able to unlock the kit and start setting it up. As of June of this year, the price of these kits were $3,300. They have probably gone up. I haven't been able to update the pricing yet. Now, what everybody's here for, the flow of the neighborhood response. First of all, we always say this: take care of yourself, take care of your family, take care of your home first. Second, assess your immediate neighborhood block. This is called the golden hour. This is where you're checking in, you're doing your Ryland or Ready Your LA neighborhood or Map Your Neighborhood steps. Then stand up a neighborhood staging area, deploy out damage assessment teams, augment the staging area staffing as needed, and deploy incident response teams. Your goal is to liaison with the fire department, let them know that you're there, let them know what you have and what you need help with. And if things continue going, prepare for the next operational period, and hopefully things will resolve quickly and then you can demobilize. If you do not take care of your family and your home, and you're distracted, you're worried, you know that your significant other or your child is injured at home and you're leaving them to help your neighbors, you will not be a good responder. Take care of yourself, take care of your family first. Then help your neighbors out. Turn on your radio, check in. So as you're assessing, listen to other people reporting in their status and then report in yours. You want to report any damage, any injuries, or rather any injuries, any damage. So that radio communications could sound like this. This is Cabrillo 1, no injuries, no damage. straightforward to the point. Everyone understands my reporting. Or if you hear, this is Figueroa 3. My daughter fell down the stairs and broke her leg. We have minor cracks in the window. Okay, that's not great, but we know someone's injured and we know that there might be some damage to homes now. Or you hear this. This is Avenue 65. We have no injuries, but we have an X-crack in one of our walls. That's severe structural damage to that building. That building is not safe. That building is in the state of collapsing. It hasn't collapsed yet, but will probably eventually collapse. So if you start hearing that, you know the damage is pretty severe and that it's probably other buildings that have been damaged. Likely there's going to be injuries. Things are not looking good and you're going to have to respond. Before you respond, make sure you protect your head, hands, and feet. Again, we don't bring victims to an incident. You want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself. I recommend everyone wear long pants. You might brush up against something, and if you're wearing shorts, you could cut yourself. Long sleeves as well are a good idea because, again, things are going to be broken, things are going to be damaged, things are going to be messy. And as you're out there, the best thing you can do is protect your skin, protect your lungs. That means wear an N95 mask. After an earthquake, there's going to be speaking of that, there's going to be dust in the air. There's going to be debris that is dangerous. Protect your eyes, wear goggles. Next, you want to inspect your natural gas valve. If you have gas, make sure that it is not leaking. If you see it, hear it, or smell it, you have a leak. If you see the wavy lines, excuse me, you hear hissing, you smell rotten eggs, you have a gas leak. Turn off your gas. Only turn off your gas if you see, smell, or hear a leak, because you need the gas company to come turn that gas back on. And if you just shut it off, you may be waiting for a long time. But you turn it off so that that leak doesn't catch fire and then burn down your home. Shut off your main water at the outside, at the main from the street coming in. This is going to protect the water that you have in your home. If you have a water heater, you have water in your the tank of your toilet, you have water in your pipes within the home. That water is clean and safe to drink. However, pipes in the street run along sewage lines. So if there's a break in the clean water pipe, there's probably a break in the sewer line, and the water out there is now contaminated. Or even worse, you have a leak outside the building. It can actually drain all the water out of your building, including your water heater. So shut off your water, protect the water that you have, and keep the water that you have. If you don't have a water heater, you still have water in your pipes. And then post a help okay sign. This is going to let people know that you, as the term says, you either need help or you're okay. Consider putting a fire extinguisher on the sidewalk. And the reason why this is maybe a good idea is that if you're not there to put out a small fire, that small fire may set fire to your home. Or if there's a responding team and someone else's home is at risk of catching on fire, that fire extinguisher may save one of your neighbor's homes, which then could save your home, because if your neighbor's home catches fire and goes up, it's probably going to burn down several homes nearby. The reason why I say this is maybe is some of us live in neighborhoods that aren't exactly the greatest, and someone will walk by and go, "Oh, free fire extinguisher." So this is a decision you're going to have to make on your own. That is the basis for Map Your Neighborhood, that then builds into assessing your immediate neighborhood block. This is referred to as the golden hour. This is the hour immediately after disaster where you can do the most good for your neighbors. You want to head directly to your neighborhood gathering site. You're looking around, seeing, are there help signs up? Are there signs of damage? Are there people calling for help? Do you hear any whistles blowing? And you're documenting this as you're going in. The neighborhood gathering site should be visible, public, an obvious place for that neighborhood block, members of that neighborhood block, residents of that neighborhood block to go right after the earthquake or other disaster. This is where you want everybody to meet up. And if nobody knows about it, they should be able to see, oh, everyone's going there. Maybe I should go check out that and see what's going on because my power's out, my cell phone doesn't work, my landline, or I don't even have a phone, and I have no way of finding out any information. And this differs from the staging area we'll talk about in a little bit. This is one thing that should be public and very visible so people know to go there. When you respond, you're going to form teams at the gathering site. You should send teams of 3. 2 is a bare minimum. Again, nobody goes alone anywhere. If you have to do an odd number, actually, we recommend that 3 is really the minimum for a team. 2 people does not make a team. And we'll talk that team leader I mentioned. That's that 3rd person in that team. You're going to communicate. If you have FRS radios, family radio service radios, that's one of the easiest ways to communicate and easiest to purchase, cheapest to buy. You don't have any licensing requirements. Everyone can get these radios, Best Buy, Costco, Target, Home Depot, Amazon, of course. These radios are easy to find and they all interoperate. If you don't have radios, you're going to use runners. It is an immediate block, so 20 households ish. Runner should be easily able to cover that area. If you have people who are injured, you're going to want to set up a medical treatment area. You're going to want to set up an area that is a safe location for children or the elderly or the elderly. Oftentimes, they make great companions, young children and the elderly. And put them in the same location. They can take care of each other and help each other stay safe while the people who are more able-bodied are able to go help their neighbors out in a little more challenging conditions. And you want to meet back regularly at the gathering site and report any updates and gather any new resources that might become available. If things are bad, and this is what you're going to find out during the golden hour. You're going to see damage or you're going to hear damage. You're going to know about injuries. If there's no damage, no injuries, great. You don't have to get to this point. You do that golden hour, everybody's fine, go home. It wasn't a big deal. However, you start hearing about X-cracks. You hear about people falling down the stairs and breaking their legs. You have partial collapses of buildings or complete collapses of buildings. You have gas mains that have caught on fire and are sending out, 300-foot fireballs into the sky. Now's the time that you're going to do something. You're going to need something bigger than that gathering site. This is where you set up the neighborhood staging area. The neighborhood staging area should be out of the way. It's not public. It's not visible from the street. You don't want people who don't know to go there to wander in and find it. You don't want them because they're the ones who are going to be looking for help. And the staging area needs to be unobstructed in order to operate because you're going to be dealing with the chaos. You're going to be sending out teams. You're going to be managing, communicating with multiple teams. And if you have people who wander up and go, my power's out, my cell phone doesn't work, when is the water going to be safe to drink? They will hamper and hinder, and they will shut down a staging area very quickly. So you only want your trained members, the people who you train with and members who you think can help you to come here. And that means if you know your neighbor is able-bodied and wants to help, you drag them along with you when you're going to the staging area. First person who gets the staging area, staging manager. Congratulations, you're in charge until you're relieved by someone who is more capable than yourself or more suited to the position. Again, this is why we drill. Everyone should have an opportunity to be the staging manager and understand the flow. But we try and template this and make this as simple as possible so it's not overwhelming, so that it's not something that you fear doing. You may not want to do it. You might think that there's other people better at it, but if you're the first person there and there's no one more experienced to take over for you, do what you have to do to get things done. We label all the clipboards, we label all the radios, so it's easy to put out. We have the step-by-step guide that we're reviewing today so that it is simple and easy to do. Yes, it is chaos. Yes, it is panic-inducing. Yes, it is more chaotic at the very beginning than it is at the end. And every staging manager who's gone through our drills for the first time being staging manager, they've admitted this. It was chaos at the beginning, but things started to calm down once we got the flow going and we had the teams out, and then it became managed chaos and we were able to accomplish the mission. You're going to put up a map board that has your damage assessment routes on it. On that map board, you're going to track the incidents and the teams. You're going to have a clipboard that has personnel resources on it. Sign in on that first. You're the first person there, and sign in everybody who follows after you. Have them rate themselves, but you're writing down, you're doing the actual documentation of it. Don't hand the resources clipboard to someone who doesn't know how to fill it out, because they will fill it out wrong. This resources clipboard is how you are building your team. You're building it based on capabilities. And yes, some people will say they are, out of a 1 to 5 rating, they are a 5 at everything. This is where you know your team members. If you know your team member is not a 5 at everything, and they say they do, this is why we train together. You need to assess your fellow team members and understand the capabilities of everyone. If everyone says they're a 1, if someone says they're a 1 at everything, but you know they are not, they are self-deprecating, adjust accordingly. But you write down so there's consistent information on the clipboard, because this is where you're building your teams from. And you're asking them to rate themselves on their experience using radios, their ability to be a scribe, their ability to do first aid, their ability to lead. And then that's how you're going to build your teams, because you're going to look at this, go, okay, I have a 5 in leadership. This person should be a team leader. I should not put the person who rates themselves a 1 in leadership as the team leader. My radio operator should not be the person who rates themselves a 2 in radio communication, unless I know that they're actually pretty good at it and they just, they're rating themselves down. I've heard this person on the radio and they are not good at it, but they rated themselves a 5. Maybe they're a better scribe than a radio operator. Unfortunately, you're going to work with what you have, and you're going to do the best you can with the resources that you have. Sometimes you're not going to have the ideal people to put in those positions. You can make that decision then. Do I hold them back and find someone better? Or do I send out what I have and hope things start to gel and get better over time? The damage assessment teams are going to be designated Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. There will be no more than 4 teams. There will not be a Echo damage assessment team. There will be no more than 4 damage assessment teams. Your incident response teams will be Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, and Hotel. You will not reuse damage assessment team names for your incident response, because when they say, all right, who reported this in? Oh, Alpha team reported this in. Wait, is Alpha team a damage assessment team or are they an incident response team? You see the confusion that can cause. So don't reuse the names. Aside from the staging manager, the only other roles at the staging area will be scribes or radio communicators. If you're at the map board, you are a scribe. If you're holding a radio, you are a radio communicator. If you're checking people in, you are a scribe. If you're running around gathering information and consolidating the incidents and evaluating, you're a scribe. We try and keep it simple. There can be dozens, hundreds of different roles out there. We keep it down to 4: team leader, scribe, radio communicator, and hands-on responder. The incident response teams will have a team leader, a radio operator, and a scribe, and hands-on responders. The staging area is going to be tracking the team locations. Every time a team radios in, they should give their location. Every time they take a turn, they should give their updated location. This is how you're tracking your teams on the board, because if you know your damage assessment team should be on this route and they're radioing from somewhere else, there's a problem. Or you haven't heard from your team in a while. Well, last time they radioed in, they were at this location along the route that they're assigned to, and they should be somewhere on that route. We need to go find them. You know where to start looking. Your incident response team was deployed to this one incident. They weren't given a list of incidents. They were assigned to one incident. They should have gone straight there. They have a map of the area. This is the most logical location that we're going to find them on. And you know where to start looking if you don't hear from them again. And then staging is going to prioritize incidents and determine what needs to be responded to next. Sometimes it's going to be the closest. Sometimes it's going to be the most critical. Your goal is to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people. You need to put a little bit of thought process into it. How do I maximize the use of my resources to help the most amount of people in the shortest amount of time? Sample command board is going to look something like this. You're going to have the map of the area. You're going to have the damage assessment routes in color, each color coded, blue, green, red, brown. It doesn't really matter the colors, but you do this for visibility's sake. If you're looking at the map, you know, okay, blue is Bravo team, red is Alpha team, green is Charlie team. Simple enough. And then you're going to have the staging area name on there, your operational period. Sometimes this may be day 3 of the incident, of the earthquake. You're going to have your team names. Write these down and the color assigned to them. If you're using push pin or a marker to identify those teams, try and keep them, don't use black for everything. Try and use the colors that you have to make it easier to look at the map and understand what's going on. If everything is the same color, it's easy to get confused. It's like, all right, what is that? I didn't put who that was. I just put a dot and they're all black. Is that an incident? Is that a team? I don't remember. It's confusing. So team names, Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, use the NATO alphabet, and then the color assigned to them. You should know where your closest fire station is. There might not be anybody there, or there might be firefighters there. It really depends. You might have a liaison team at the fire station, and you might be able to get resources from them. And then if you know the fire department has a command post that they are rallying at, you should hopefully know where that is, because you want to get communication up there. The number of incidents that you have. This is going to be an ever-increasing number. Start at 1, keep going. On the rapid needs assessment form, there's numbers on the sides. You can use that. Don't skip lines. I've seen people do that. It throws the numbering off. It's 1, 2, 3, 4. The numbers are there for a reason. On the next page, it's, you know, if there's 10, it's 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It makes things easy so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. But if you start skipping lines, it becomes a problem. The active number of incidents, these are the incidents that still need to be responded to, or you actually have teams out at. This should hopefully be a decreasing number, but initially it's going to go up and then hopefully go back down again. If you have a treatment area, you want to document where that is, and you might have more than one treatment area, hopefully just one. If you have more than one treatment area, you're probably servicing too big of an area. You should try and consolidate that down and have one place that everybody's being brought to, if possible. Not everything's going to be possible. Everything is going to be customized to the needs of the neighborhood, but if possible, one treatment area, and you're going to document the number of delayed and number of immediates. These are the number that need to be transported if they're immediate or delayed. If people get transported, that number should go down. If they, you know, at the beginning of the incident, that number is going to keep going up. And if you have transport resources, maybe it's John with their pickup truck, or you have Diana with her her station wagon. This is where you're going to document those resources, because that's who you're going to be sending out and hopefully getting people to go to the hospital, get them out of there, get them to definitive care. And then, of course, document your closest hospital. That's where you're going to be sending people. Oh, one thing, if you have a laminated map, it makes it very easy to use dry erase markers on it. We found these very thin sheets of PET plastic that we can put over a paper map, and then that turns it into a whiteboard that we can then use the dry erase markers on. And the plastic's thin enough that we can actually use magnetic push pins on the map as well. So leverage resources, we include those in the staging area kits, both dry erase markers and magnetic push pins, color coded, so that you have the resources and then do what you do. Sometimes you'll want to use the dry erase markers less, sometimes you'll want to use them more, but it's up to you, whoever's at the map, to figure that out. Going back to the guiding principles for documentation, really 3. Everyone checks in, including the staging manager. Everyone checks out before they leave. If it wasn't written down, it didn't happen. Above and beyond these guidelines, your flow, your experience with the documentation and the forms, that's going to vary a lot, but you want accountability for your volunteers. If someone checked in and they decided while they're walking past their home, they're going to go home and not tell anybody, that becomes a major problem, because what if this person didn't go home? What if they fell through a manhole cover and they're trapped? Now we have to go find them because we don't know what happened to them. Everyone checks in, everyone checks out before they leave. Drill that into your people's heads. Make sure they know they need to check out with staging, preferably at staging, but certainly radio it in and make sure that staging confirms that they have been checked out. You're going to deploy damage assessment teams. I mentioned that staging area is blind and deaf. Staging has no idea what's going on out there, and that's where the damage assessment teams are going to be fundamental in accomplishing what you need to accomplish. Now, if it's just 3 of you and you don't have additional people coming to help, you're on your own. Figure out what to do. This is assuming that we've helped you build a team in your neighborhood. This is an end goal. The plan is where we want things to be, where we want things to go. And so we want to have enough people so we can staff damage assessment teams and incident response teams. But we set the guidelines. No more than 4 damage assessment teams. If you have 12 damage assessment teams, it becomes untenable. 4 should be able to cover the area. You might not need 4. In the map that we showed before on the command board, there are only 3 damage assessment teams, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie. There is no Delta team. I say again, there is no Delta team. When you get to the incident response teams, they start at Echo. That's because we're standardizing it. We don't want to confuse things by, oh, is Delta a damage assessment team or an incident response team at the staging area? It differs. No, it shouldn't differ. There's certain things that can be changed, but we're trying to set the standard across the city. No more than 4 damage assessment teams. There might be less if you don't need 4. There will be exactly 3 people on a damage assessment team: your team leader, your radio operator, and your scribe. There will not be 4. There will not be 2. There will be exactly 3. The team leader, again, they keep the team safe. That is their one and only job. They also guide them. So hopefully it's someone with a little bit of experience, someone who knows the area. And they need to stay hands off. And they must be CERT trained. The one rule, the team leader must be CERT trained. Your radio communicator communicates with staging. That is literally their only job. If you're walking out in a damage assessment team and you see something happen, your radio operator should be calling staging and letting staging know. Staging, this is Alpha Team. Go ahead, Alpha Team. Staging, this is Alpha Team. We're at the corner of Walk and Don't Walk. We just saw a car plow into a tree. We're going to investigate. Stand by. We will give you more information. That should not be the team leader looking at the radio operator and saying, call this in. As a radio operator or radio communicator, you should know when you need to call staging. And the general rule is, if you know you're going to need more resources, call staging. Scribe documents, tracks information. What was reported when you're reporting in, what did you report, and any details not yet reported. So maybe you don't need to say, oh, this person, I don't even know. I can't even think of anything right now, but there might be a lot of details that you don't need to put over the radio, but you can document them down and they may become relevant later on. The job of the damage assessment team is to find out who needs help. That's your job. You're going to let staging know where the people that need help are, and you're going to find out how badly they need help. You're going to triage it. Is this person going to die in the next hour if they don't get immediate help? Or they have some cuts and scrapes and they're probably fine. Or this person probably broke their ankle or their leg, but they're stable. Their vitals are stable and they're not going to die in the next hour, but they need help. You're going to stabilize them the best they can, best you can. If you can keep someone who is bleeding out from bleeding out, you put a tourniquet on it, you bandage it, you do something to stop that bleeding, and they're not in immediate danger of dying now because you've stopped this bleeding. Great. An incident response team can come along and check on them and get them definitive care. You need to move on. You can't get stuck at an incident. Don't get sucked in at an incident if you're a damage assessment team. You need to complete the damage assessment so that staging knows how bad things are, because there might be something 10 times worse right around the block. And if you get stuck at someone with a minor scrape and they just want to talk and they're lonely and they don't know where their cat is, you're going to let people die. Augment staging area staffing. If you're the staging manager and you can handle it, your next 3 people should be the first damage assessment team in the field. And that means you're doing everything at staging by yourself. As you need to, you're going to augment scribes and radio operators. The first thing I would probably augment is personnel sign-in and team formation. Hand that clipboard off to someone who can then do the intake and start putting together the next team while you're talking on the radio with the team that's out there. Incident tracking would be the next thing. So you have, actually, next one would probably be a radio operator. Hand the radio off. Now you have someone who is signing in personnel and they're a partner with the radio. They're able to do the incident tracking with them. And then team tracking, incident response prioritization. That's probably going to be your deputy right there, is the person who's good on their feet, good thinking. They have a lot of experience. I would actually say I would put a less experienced person as staging manager and a more experienced person as deputy, because that deputy is going to be a lot more involved, a lot more hands-on with the different other scribes and radio operators there than the person who is in charge of everything. And I will ask everybody to please make sure they mute themselves, and please stay muted until the end, and then you can ask your questions at that point. Again, you want to pair up radio operators and scribes. They make great partners together, and it also means that your radio operator doesn't have to write things down, which, unless you're a very experienced radio operator, is difficult to do. Your scribe with the radio operator is going to get up and walk over to the map or walk over to whoever's handling incident tracking and update them with the information they hear from the radio. That deputy could be the liaison between them. They're walking around checking, and it's going to make things easier. But you can see how many roles there are at staging. You don't have the resources right away, but this is where, as you get the resources to consider putting them, don't build out the staging area right away. You should be able to, as staging manager, handle all the roles while you have one team in the field. Maybe if you have 2 damage assessment teams in the field, you can handle these roles. When you start to get 3 and 4 teams in the field, that's where you definitely need help at staging. You can, if you are not that experienced and you know you're going to need help early on, keep a scribe early on. Maybe that's the first role you fill out. But remember, you want to get those damage assessment teams out in the field as quickly as possible so you find out how bad things are. You want to anticipate the needs of the staging area. So as things are growing, as you have more teams in the field, you anticipate that I need more help here before you actually need the help, and augment early so that you don't run into a problem. What we see is you have one person with the radio in charge of everything, no help there, 3 teams out in the field, 4 teams out in the field, and they're overwhelmed. They shut down. They can't do a good job because they let things get out of control ahead of time. They had the resources to start augmenting. If you get to the point where you have 4 damage assessment teams out in the field and there's 3 people each, that's 12 people in the field. You could have held a couple people back to help you out before you got to that point. But remember your span of control. No more than 7 people that you're dealing with at any time, or you're directly controlling. And so keep that in mind. Augment early. Don't augment too early. Your goal really is that everyone should have one job and one job only, including the staging manager. Get rid of the radio as soon as you can. You're going to deploy out incident response teams. Again, you don't want to reuse the damage assessment team names. So you're going to start with Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel. If you have more teams than that, more power to you. But chances are you're going to have 4 incident response teams out there. The incident response teams are 5 to 7 people. If you have 7 times 4, that's 28 people in the field. I think it's a little late to do math right now. That's a good amount of people. We can only be so blessed if we have, 50 people in a neighborhood that are responding to a disaster. Chances are you'll be lucky if you have 30. But again, we want to keep this growing. We want to keep bringing people in. We want to help other people understand that they need to do this and that they need to help each other out, because chances are after an earthquake, you're going to be on your own. Fire department is going to be overwhelmed. They'll eventually get more responders in, but those first few hours of the operation, that is what happens in the neighborhood, you're going to be neighbor helping neighbor. So your incident response teams are made up of that same command element, that team leader, radio operator, and scribe, but you're going to start adding on hands-on responder pairs. Again, a pair is 2 people. So 1 pair, that's a team leader, radio operator, scribe, plus a pair, that's 5 people. For team leader, radio operator, scribe, 2 pairs, that's 7 people total. I think my math is right on that. And those pairs are going to do the work. They're going to do the first aid. They're going to do the hands-on stuff, and the command element that team leader, radio operator, and scribe are going to make sure the team stays safe, that the responder pairs are able to focus on their work, and everyone makes it home safely. When you get deployed by staging to a incident, you're going to go directly to that incident. You're going to get one incident, and you're going to go to that one incident. As staging, you should not be saying, okay, you're going to go here, then here, then here, then here, because that does not work well. If they're trapped at an incident for 3 hours, and you have another incident response team that could have taken those 2nd, 3rd, and 4th incidents, that was a better use of resources. Plus, what if they go, oh, well, incident number 3 is closer than incident number 1. I should go to incident number 3 here because I'm on my way. Where's your team at? Where's that incident response team? Assign one incident. When you hear they're starting to finish up that incident, figure out where the next incident is going to be. Don't pre-plan those, because things change, priorities change, resources change. When you're the incident response team and you're the radio communicator, let staging know when you get there. We have teams that get to an incident, they're working on it, and they start reporting in that they've been at the incident for half an hour. Really, guys? We didn't even know you got there. Give regular status updates. Your job is to communicate with staging. Let staging know if you need more resources, you need transportation, and when you're drawing the incident to a conclusion. Say, staging, this is Echo Team. We are almost complete here. We're ready for our next incident. Simple as that. And then staging. This is Echo Team. We've concluded incident number 5. We're ready to move on to incident number 9. This is a tricky one. A responder pair can break off from the main incident response team. You have enough people to do this. And we put this in because if you're walking towards incident number 5 and some person comes out screaming that they need help, it looks really bad if you go, we'd love to help you find out what's going on. There's 7 of us here, but we have a better job to do than to help you out. One of the pairs, responder pairs, can break off, especially if you have FRS radios and can talk to each other within the team. That pair can then go quickly assess the new possible incident and then find out, escalate it to staging, and then get back to the main team. Let staging know you're going to do this. Your main team name is Echo. Your primary team is Echo 1. Your secondary team that's just broken off is Echo 2 or Echo 3 or possibly even Echo 4. Using the resources that you have. But generally speaking, you don't want your entire team breaking away from the main team before you get to the incident. Don't get stuck there. You basically become a damage assessment team if you get broken off. Find out how bad it is, report it in, stabilize it, move on. Another incident team will get assigned that incident and go out there. Or maybe that becomes your next incident. Be quick, efficient, and then when you're done with the incident, request a new one. The liaison team. This is a team that should be CERT trained. They're going to go to the fire department's command post. This is a relationship that you've built with your battalion, with your local fire department. You know, okay, the fire department, maybe we're in battalion 6. We know where they're going to stage their equipment. We want to get a team that's going to go there directly. That team is going to be equipped with radios. They're going to know all the staging areas that are here. Once they get to the fire department's command post, they're going to reach out to their staging areas and establish communication. They're going to reach out to their teams and go, what do you have? What resources do you need? What do we need to let the fire department know about? Additionally, there are fire station first in teams. Generally, we can expect the fire department is not going to be at the fire station. However, there's a lot of people telling other people, after the earthquake, go to the fire station. If you're CERT trained, go to the fire station. And we're going to be there. But if we're there, hey, I'm CERT trained. I haven't trained with you guys, but I took the training 4 years ago. Cool. I have a staging area that needs help. It's at this location. I need you to go there and help them out. You become a resource aggregator at that point. You're also a command level team. You're reaching out to your staging areas, finding out what do they have, what do they need. And then fire stations can be de facto casualty collection points. I didn't put this in here, but the fire department knows where their fire stations are. If you're at fire station 47, fire department's not there, but you have a CERT team there. And you have people that need transport to the hospital. You can say, we have 3 immediates at fire station 47 that need transportation. Fire department immediately knows where that location is, and there's no need for any more information if they are going to send a rescue ambulance to transport. And these can maybe, if you have challenging radio communication, they're the liaisons between the command team element and the staging areas. Don't expect to be able to go into the fire station. You're going to probably plan on camping out in front of the fire station, maybe on their lawn or on their apron. We want to establish this relationship with each fire station, with each battalion, let them know what our plans are, and so they know how to practice with us and what to expect of us as we're there. And the dream is really, the plan is, you have an incident, you have a flipped over bus, cell phones are down, landlines are down, power's out. You have multiple injuries in this flipped over bus. You need the fire department. How are you going to contact the fire department? You can't call 911. Fire department doesn't know about this yet. You're able to radio your staging area. Staging area is able to radio the liaison team. Liaison team says, we have a flipped over bus with 5 immediates and 3 delayed at this location. Top to bottom, bottom to top. And then hopefully the fire department can send resources. You're going to prepare for the next operational period. We expect, as we've seen in disasters across the country, it is not, hey, we're out for a few hours and we're done. We're all going home. Everything's cool. Everything's good. Everyone went home safely. Good job, everyone. You're going to be there for days. Fire department may drive by and go, hey, what you guys got? What do you need help with? And we may not be able to provide those resources to you. You're on your own, or we'll send something eventually. But you got this. You're the help in your neighborhood until the professionals can arrive and take over. We had one wires down. It was a windstorm. I don't know if people remember this. Maybe about 15 years ago, we had a massive windstorm through LA, city of Los Angeles. Power was out all over the city. La Crescenta was dark for 5 days. We had one of our teams. They saw power lines went down right in their block. They went out, secured the area, made sure nobody got hurt by the down power lines. Fire department showed up, said, what you guys got? Well, we have these power line down. We're a CERT team. Okay. We have another call we need to go on. We'll get back to you. They were there until the next morning. And then we started making calls and got them relief. But you're probably going to be there for a while. You're going to be the help until help arrives. You're going to be there until you're relieved by the professionals. You need to know how to handle that. You need to know that most operational periods are either going to be 12 or 24 hours. Your responders, your volunteers need rest. You can't be standing out there for 24 hours at a time. In fact, probably 12 hours is a bit more than you are going to want. If you have the resources, I would swap your people out as frequently as realistic. If it's just 2 of you, do what you can. Don't kill yourselves trying to help your neighbors out. Don't make mistakes because you're fatigued. If you burn out, you don't get rest, you're not drinking enough water, you're not getting food, you're going to make mistakes, and mistakes can kill people. So don't become the problem. Sometimes maybe you're just going to go, I've been here for 12 hours. I haven't eaten. I haven't had water. No one else is coming. I'm going to have to go home, recharge, and then come back when I can. Take a nap, get some food, get some water, and then come back. If you're staging manager, you need to know how to swap out with another staging manager. Say, hey, I've been at this. You're more experienced than I am. I need you to take over. Do that handoff. Make sure that the replacement staging manager knows these are the resources we have in the field. We have Alpha, Bravo, and Echo teams out in the field right now. 2 damage assessment teams, 1 incident response team. These are their last known locations. These are your radio operators and scribes here, and it's a verbal handoff in person with your replacement. And then maybe you'll, if you have a treatment area or something like that, make sure, and any known issues. We have a gas leak at this location. We haven't been able to turn off the gas. We have a fire at this location. It's too much for us to handle. And unfortunately, we let the fire department know about it, but it's still uncontrolled. I mentioned the command board. The staging manager's name is on it, and that's so everybody knows who's in charge. Everyone has one boss. Your team leaders know they're reporting to the staging manager and who that staging manager is. You get back and there's a new staging manager on that board. That's the person you're responding to. Demobilization. When you're done and everybody's safe, there's no more incidents, and the fire department's taken over, cool. You can start to demobilize if they let you. If they let you. They may say, hey, we still need you here. But This is something we're really bad at, especially after a drill. We're all tired, we're exhausted. And I can tell you, there are staging area kits that have not been restocked and reset, because if we don't do it today, it won't be done tomorrow. And that's a bad habit to get into. Clean up, restock all the documentation, restock all the forms, make sure that everything is nice and cleaned up. You've captured all the information, all the paperwork and forms for future either historical use, assessment, maybe legal purposes. You put fresh forms on the clipboards. You took a picture of the whiteboard before you wiped it clean. But you want to leave the staging area operational because, hey, we might have been working 2 days on an earthquake and we shut down, everything's good to go, and then there's an aftershock the morning after. Well, we didn't clean up. Everything is still the way we left it, and the team that gets there, it's a disaster upon a disaster. Your goals are, as a disaster response team, a neighborhood disaster response team, is to do the greatest good for the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time, pure and simple. If you just keep that one in mind, hey, what's my priority here? Who are you helping? Do the greatest good for the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time. Can I help this person? There's nothing I can do to help this one person. Well, should I spend resources on it? Should I spend an entire team trying to save someone that can't be saved? Do you do CPR on someone who is not breathing, does not have a pulse during a mass casualty incident? No, you don't. If you can't get them to revive immediately, you're not going to spend hours trying to save them. If you have 15 people who you can save and one person who maybe you can save, but it's going to take a lot of work, you're going to help the 15 people. And hopefully you can save that one other person when you get a chance to. Do the greatest good for the greatest number of people in the shortest amount of time. Respond safely. We don't bring victims to an incident. Keep that in mind. Am I trained to do this? Do I have the equipment to do this? Do I have the personal protection gear, the PPE to do this? Is this safe for me to do? Am I going to put other people at risk by doing this? Am I going to put the person I'm trying to save at risk by doing this? Are they safe right now? They're in a car. There's power lines down. We know the power lines are active. They're safe right now. There's no flames. There's no obvious signs the car is in danger of catching on fire or exploding. Do I need to put myself at risk to save them? No, you don't. Cordon off the area, tell them to stay put, and then get the fire department to know that there's an incident here that they need to respond to because they're trained and equipped to do so. Stand at the staging area in an out of the way area where everyone's going to meet. Send out damage assessment teams to find out where people need help and report those in so that you can then send out incident response teams to help the people who can be helped. Reassure your neighbors that help is here. A lot of people have not been through a major earthquake before. They're going to panic the first time this happens, hopefully. It's the only time it happens. Hopefully it doesn't happen, really. But when they see the fire department's not coming, it's going to make matters worse. If you're already panicking and you're trying to call 911 and it rings busy, or you have no cell phone signal and you're, a Gen Zer and you don't have a landline, or that cable modem, the phone that's attached to your cable modem doesn't work during a disaster, you're going to panic. But if you know there are people here who are trained, they're wearing green vests and helmets, they're here to help, that's going to calm people. Even if you can't help them, just by being there, present, visible, in walking the neighborhood, being out there talking to your neighbors, letting them know, hey, if you need help, go to this location, go to this gathering site, and they have radios, they can communicate with us, and we can come help you if you need it. That's going to do more good than if you're an EMT or paramedic and you have an ambulance on standby. Just reassuring people that help is there. Mitigate any issues and dangers before they become problems. This is where we talk about turning off the gas if we see or smell or hear a leak, because it's not a problem now, but if it catches on fire, it becomes a problem real fast. So if we shut off the gas, we mitigate the problem. You're going to see things out there that you haven't trained for. Use your training, think about it, be situational aware, find out, hey, how bad is this? And what do I have to do to mitigate it? I can't give you those answers because every problem is going to be different, but try and mitigate them before they become problems. Establish communications with the fire department response. This is where we come in. If you're on your own and you have no way to communicate with the fire department, there's a very limited amount that you can do. But if you can call up incidents and say to the fire department, we have this incident and we need transport, or we need a fire department resource, ambulance, whatever. We have a fire. This building is on fire. There's nothing we can do about it. We need help. That is where we're going to show the value to the professionals who are trying to get control of the situation and help as many people as they can themselves. And we want to let the fire department know about incidents that we simply can't handle. I've already said that. So this Saturday, October 22nd, from 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. is our full functional drill. We do this one yearly, and it gets bigger and better every year. We have a fantastic team that's putting together the incidents. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to see this from start to finish. The staging area is going to get set up. Damage assessment teams are going to get deployed. Staging is going to have to figure out when they need to augment. And when the damage assessment teams call in, we'll send out incident response teams to deal with them. Start to finish. Hopefully, these things may run long. We're going to end on time. So if we don't get everything done that we wanted to do, we'll end it so we don't drag on, until 6 p.m. I recommend you go to the website ntp-la-ss2022.eventbrite.com and sign up there. It's going to give you all the information about it. It's going to have the links for the documentation package, download the step-by-step guide, and review it before you go, as well as an equipment list of things that you should have in your bag. Don't go out and buy stuff that if you don't have it. Don't rush and overdo it. If you can't sign up on the Eventbrite, just go to 3900 Edge Hill Drive in Los Angeles, 90008, and you should find us there this Saturday, 8 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. And if you haven't yet, sign up at join.ntp-la.org. That way you get our emails, and as we get the team organization system built out, we'll import your information and send you out an email of how to update your information there. Okay. That was a long presentation. Thank you, everybody, for bearing with us. Do we have any? Actually, I'd love to introduce our other bureau coordinators. I see Christy, I see Chin. Christy, why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself and introduce yourself.
Hi, this is Christy Adair. I'm the LAFD CERT Valley Bureau Coordinator. And this is a great presentation, Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. So if you're in the Valley, reach out to Christy, and she'd love to hear from you. She's putting on some amazing stuff. Her battalions are starting to get active over there, her battalion coordinators. I don't know if we have any of them here. I think some of them might be on here. They're starting to meet. I know Battalion 15 had a meeting yesterday, I think. I know some of the others are starting to get them scheduled. Chin, our South Bureau Coordinator. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, everybody, and coming to you tonight from lovely Santa Barbara, California, but I wanted to say hello to everybody. And if you are located in our South Bureau area, which includes Battalion 6, which is Coastal San Pedro, Wilmington, and Harbor City. We have Battalion 13, which is historic South LA, and Battalion 18, which includes Leimert Park, where our Saturday exercise is taking place, but it also includes Jefferson Park, West LA, Mid-City. If you're in any one of those areas and want to get active with your team, and we've got a monster team over here, let me know, and I will connect you. And Patrick, as always, great presentation as always. And for everybody we'll see Saturday morning, I look forward to seeing you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chin. Thank you, Christy. Now, if anyone has any questions, hey, Daryl, I'm glad you're here. Can you help mediate? Go ahead and raise your hands if you have any questions, and Daryl will, if you're willing to.
Sure. Jen Northrup, please unmute yourself and ask a question.
Hi there. Just a quick question. For someone who has a very busy, very unpredictable schedule, but really, really wants to be prepared, what is the best training? What is the best thing one can do in the meantime? I've already had the CERT training, but is it the training exercises? Is it taking radio communication classes? Is it doing, what would be the best way to become prepared for someone who is not always available?
Do what you can with what you have. If you see a training you can attend it. Don't kill yourself to try and make your schedule work. There will always be other trainings, but do what you can. I can't give you any, do this, then this, and this, and make sure it fits into your schedule. Just stay. You were able to attend this training, great. If you're not able to attend next month's, but you're able to attend the one after that, though, that'll put us into holiday season. So you can't attend till January, cool. Don't kill yourself to make this happen. Hopefully the earthquake doesn't happen tomorrow. If you can attend the exercise on Saturday, awesome. We're going to have other drills. Come to those if you can, and come to as many as you can, just as they come up.
Thank you.
Patrick, if you can give me permissions to lower people's hands.
Oh, yeah. Daryl, I'll make you co-host. There you go.
The next person up is Sandy Lambert. Sandy, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, and great presentation, Patrick, as usual. I downloaded the initial response to a disaster and neighborhood staging area step-by-step guide. And what Patrick had in his presentation was, a little bit different. It covered many of the same things, but a lot of different stuff. Do I have the wrong version of the guide, or did Patrick just do different PowerPoint slides to not just be repeating it?
It should be updated in the last month or so. There should be a date at the bottom of the page.
Okay.
Actually, I take that back. This extends beyond that guide. So the guide is up into deploying the incident response teams and does not go beyond that. So we'll have additional guides that will talk about how to hand off to the next staging manager, how to go into the next operational period. But that guide is up into the point of deploying the incident response teams.
Yeah, the date is September 13th of this year, and it does have the section communications after deploying incident response teams, but nothing else. Thank you.
That's probably the most up to date. We're going to constantly update these forms, so check back regularly, these step-by-step guides. These will always continue to evolve. So maybe after a couple drills, we discover that this needs to be changed, we'll change it on there. And the one that was done last year has been substantially updated since then. Okay, yeah. So one of the big things that we did was we broke up the sections. So communications at the bottom, deploying incident response teams to make it easy to read through at a glance. So that is the most up-to-date version.
Okay, thank you.
The next hand up is Sherman Shapiro. Sherman, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Yes. So first, yes, thank you, Patrick. If you're out on a damage assessment loop, is there some recommended frequency of how often you should check back in just to make sure that they don't think you're lost?
The general rule is check back every 15 minutes and when you take a turn. If you're part of one of our kits, you'll have a radio allocated to your damage assessment team. So if it's Alpha team or Bravo team, Charlie Delta, you'll have a radio that's preset to the correct channel. If you're figuring this out on your own, figure it out on your own. You have to communicate and set this up ahead of time. It's best to pre-plan those kinds of elements instead of, okay, today, after the earthquake, we're on channel, yeah, let's do 15 today. Yeah, it's probably not the best plan.
Thank you.
The next person up is Christina O'Neill. Christina, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Patrick, thank you so much. My name is Christina O'Neill, and I'm the president of the Lake Hollywood Homeowners Association in the Estates. We are a 120 home community just underneath the Hollywood sign. So we're basically on top of Mount Lee, surrounded then where everything goes to Hollywood Land and Beechwood, and then on the other side. And we do have our radios that we have licensed, okay, with the FCC, and we've got everybody with the smaller radios. We've been through CERT and Ryland. And I'm not going to be able to be there at 8 o'clock on Saturday, but I plan on heading over there right after my Saturday morning meeting. And I just wanted to say thank you. And do you know who's leading Battalion 5 for, like, who's setting up these meetings and stuff for 5?
Yeah, that would be my Swiss cheese brain is not good with names.
Patrick,
Jen,
can I help you
help me
out
out,
with that?
please? Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, it is
Jackie.
Bob Agenian of
Bob.
Battalion 5. It is Jackie Kozak, and it is a new young man who's really great, Ben Goldfarb.
Okay. And you said Bob?
Bob Agenian, ADJEMIAN.
Great. Thank you so much. Because we want to set something up here for on top of the mountain, but with all the tourists, they're going to think it's a real emergency. So we're sort of, and the only way to learn what to do is with all the tourists here. So we're kind of caught between that rock and that hard place. But I'm going to see if we can just get something done where it's not too much of an emergency. We don't panic people, but we can at least get a training in. So thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. It's great to see how many people showed up tonight. Really, thank you.
Thank you, Christina. And you have my contact information, so please reach out to me as well, and we can help get things going. We're, as Bureau coordinators, we support our battalion coordinators, and this is designed to be a citywide effort. So if I'm helping Chin in South Bureau, I help Christy in the Valley, we help West Bureau, we're here to help. What I would recommend is everyone wears your green vests and helmets and bags. So you're visibly different, and you have someone there handing out flyers with information. So when people ask, hey, what's this about? Oh, here's the CERT flyer. Here's the NTP flyer. The information on how to find out more. We're doing a disaster drill. This is what we're trying to do. This is practice your elevator speech on them, and then try and get them into a class so that they can then become trained and set up a team in their area.
That's great. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Oh, let LAPD know. Let
Yeah,
LAPD
I'll talk to
know
our
if you're doing
SNO.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Worst
Heather
thing
Mock
that could
is our
happen,
SNO.
we learned the hard way when LAPD heard the wrong information and sent a team to investigate, and a helicopter and dogs.
Yeah, no, that's not good, because then we'll be charged. Yeah, no, Heather Mata is our SLO, so we're really close to her. The guys over at 76, and of course now Hogan, and yeah, I'm connected. Okay, thank you.
And definitely reach out to me. I love to work with you.
Right, fantastic. Well, the next hand raised is Shelby Emerald. Shelby, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hi, thank you so much for the presentation. I have been wanting to do the CERT program for years. I just have a scheduling conflict. I guess my question, well, I have a few, but as soon as I have maybe some emails, I can ask them. I am a licensed attorney, so I have two questions. The first is that Sorry. The first being that probably, I fit in best as a scribe. But I don't want to call it extensive. I have been a nurse's aide and I have done some, I will call it wilderness rescue, although it was, many, many years ago. But I guess the real question is like, in terms of the reason I could not go to the CERT program when I wanted to was the commute. There were, it was just too far away it was like, I think Tuesday and Thursday from 6:30 to 9 or something like that. And I don't mind the 9 on top, the rest of my day, but getting somewhere that's across the city at 6:30 is next to impossible. And I do live in a place, and I don't want to go on record exactly with this many people here, but I do live in a neighborhood where it is very congested. There are lots of kids. If there was anything going down at LAX or a tsunami or something like that, we really do need this. So I just kind of, I'm new to this. I mean, I do have a little bit of experience, but I guess I need to brainstorm.
Reach out to us. We're here to help. What I would recommend is talk to your battalion coordinators, talk to your bureau coordinator, talk to me, talk to Chin, talk to Christy. We want to put you in get you the resources you need. We're looking for team leaders. If you're interested or you want to help, we're going to work with you because we need you. We can't create the teams for you. And we need places that are willing to host classes. So if you need a class in your area and a place that can hold a certain number of people with parking, we'll help you get the class.
Okay, can we set that up?
Yeah, you should have my contact information. You should have gotten an email from me.
Okay.
If not, I'll put it in the chat for everybody. Easiest way to reach me is patrick@disasterprep.org. patrick@disasterprep.org.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh, where are the snaps?
Thank you.
All right. Fantastic.
Oh, excuse me.
Go ahead.
My second question.
Yes.
I'm a lawyer. Am I going to get in trouble here?
No. I mean, it is. You should never get in trouble or be fearful for helping your neighbors out. We're not doing anything illegal. We're doing as much as we can to make sure that we're following the law. But during a disaster, it is going to be all hands on deck. Good Samaritan protects you from, if you help your neighbors out or help out of the goodness of your heart for no monetary or any kind of compensation, really, you help someone, you're protected as long as you don't do something outside of your scope of practice and training. The
exception is my question. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have a question that's more sensitive.
Okay.
Fantastic. Well, let's turn our attention now to Aaron Yee. Aaron, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Is that me, Aaron Yee?
That is you, sir.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Captain. Okay, so my question was that, okay, first, my name is Aaron. I'm from Battalion 2, CERT trained in the Northeast area. So my question is if there's nothing to report, is there a minimum time frame that the damage assessment teams should check in?
Every 15 minutes or when you take a turn. So you're letting staging know where you are on that route. So every time you take a turn on the route, you're updating staging. And if you're walking for more than 15 minutes without reporting in, then you're reporting in.
That answers that. Thank you.
Similarly, staging area should be calling out and trying to reestablish communication if you don't check it. So one way or another, you should be speaking to each other. So the next person up is Deirdre Sermons. Deirdre, please unmute yourself and ask your question. Deirdre, are you there?
These are terrible.
Okay, well, Deirdre may be AFK, but she is the last person who has a raised hand at this point in time. Oh, wait, I see she's unmuted. Deirdre, go ahead.
Yay. Hi, Patrick, this was beautiful. I am in CERT training right now, and so I won't be able to come to the training on Saturday. When is the next training?
So we do monthly disaster drills, disaster response drills, either damage assessment or incident response. This is the one where we put everything together. And this is a yearly exercise done in the Grayburn area. There is absolutely no reason that if you're currently in the training or you haven't been trained, that you should not feel like you should come to this exercise on Saturday. If you can't because you have other prior obligations, then okay. But you shouldn't say that I'm currently in the training, I haven't graduated yet, I'm not going to come because of that. Come if you can.
Well, we have a training on Saturday.
Oh, your CERT training is on Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, right, yeah. Complete that. If you're on our email list, if you've signed up on join.ntp-la.org, then
I did.
Find out when the next one is. And
Okay.
do them monthly. We're still looking for a location for November.
All righty. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deirdre. All right, Patrick, that is all the raised hands and questions. That
I'm still reading through the chat. Did you see anything in the chat that I should address?
There were some questions about people might not have vests, so if they come to the exercise, well, what are they?
We'll have vests available if you don't have a vest.
Yeah, and there was another question about if you didn't get a kit when you went through training, what happens now?
Most of us are self-equipped, so we've gone and bought our own disaster bags. Depending on the program, depending on the funding, depending on what's available, sometimes you'll get something when you graduate. Classes that I put on, if the fire department does not have backpacks for them, then I try and get the neighborhood council to sponsor it with vests and helmets at the very least. One interesting thing, the fire department, LAFD, was giving out bags but not vests. Something we found that interesting. But there's places like SOS Survival Products, Amazon, you can find this stuff easily available. There's a handful of disaster stores out there that you can go in person to and get this equipment. Or just, look at the list online, cert-la.com, and you can find the list there of equipment and start putting it together. I want to emphasize, don't go out and buy everything at once. To do this over time. This is a marathon, not a sprint, especially if you're doing like food storage. Don't overwhelm yourself and break the bank.
Patrick, at one point there was an LA CERT store. Does that still exist?
I don't know what that is. Honestly, I've seen it. I've seen it linked on the website. I don't know anything about that or who runs it, but it's not LAFD.
Okay, I bought some CERT hats from that site. They had the logo, patched on.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Patrick, as to your earlier question, I went back up to the chat, and a lot of people have been chiming in on earlier questions, so I think everything there has been answered. However, I do see that two folks have their hands raised and they do a follow-on question. So let's first turn to Christina O'Neill. Christina, please unmute yourself and ask your follow-on question.
Thank you, Daryl. Yeah, I was just wondering, when I first got this and I was going through all the links, it had me send an email with my call sign and that I'm certified, something to you guys, but no one responded to it. Did I get lost somewhere in links that I wasn't supposed to do that? I'm trying to find the email I sent it to.
You did the correct thing.
did, okay.
That website, the Join Dot, is a Google form that uses some automation setup, and that automation has broken a couple times and caused a database corruption. It's not
Okay.
something that is easily visible, but as I'm going through reconciling, I find that there are entries that are mismatched, like someone's phone number is attached to a different email address attached to a different name, and we have over 1,000 entries in this database, and I need to go through and manually reconcile. It also means that we're not able to really issue call signs right now for the Zello app,
Gotcha.
because I need to make sure that I give you the correct call sign. It is very quickly becoming ahead because it's been down for a while. And also the Automate site got bought, and now I have to redo the automation with another site. But it's give me time, please.
Okay, well, if you need help, I've got more than enough time to come and sit down with you and go through those things and help you reconcile.
I may take you up on that.
You should. Okay, I will reach out to you and give you my email and my phone number.
Thank you.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, fantastic. The next person with their hand raised is Sandy Lambert, or Lambert, depending on how you pronounce it. Sandy, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you for using the French pronunciation, Daryl. So I have tried on about 3 times to come in on Monday at 7:15 for the radio the radio check-in.
The Zello check-in?
Yeah, the Zello check-in. And it was like there was nobody there. Am I doing something stupid or what? Because the practice, the channel, I was on the same channel as usual, but what, were you doing it every?
Yeah, we've done it every week, aside from maybe a couple holidays here and there. Reach out to me and I'll make sure you get on the correct channel and we can test it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
One thing I might mention is that at times the Zello app has its own volume. And so you may want to press the volume up on your phone or mobile device a few times when you go to a channel to make sure that it's just not all the way down. And people are speaking, but you're not actually hearing them.
I didn't catch the very first part of what you said.
The Zello app has its own volume settings.
Oh, volume
Which are
settings.
separate from your phone's normal music volume settings.
Okay.
And so at times it may actually go down to 0 and people may be speaking, but you're simply not hearing it. So when you practice with Patrick, maybe doing a direct user-to-user communication, if you press the volume up button a few times, you can make sure that that problem is created. Just my 2 cents. John.
Yeah. Also,
Okay.
the channel is you can turn the channel on and off. So it might be the channel's off. So if you go into the Radio Net and Practice channel and you see on the top right side, there should be what looks like a power button. It should be green. If it's gray, that means the channel got turned off. Go ahead and tap that power button and you should be able to hear and talk on the channel again.
Okay, thank you.
All right, fantastic. That concludes the answer session for all raised hands at this point in time.
And I'd like to thank everybody. Thank you, Daryl, for helping mediate that the Q&A. Thank you, everyone, for sitting through 2 hours of, an hour and a half of me talking. I hope you found it beneficial. I hope to see you on Saturday. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. We're here to help. We want to help you build your teams and get this started in your area. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you, Patrick.
Thank you
Have a
so
good one.
much. Thank you so much.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Daryl.